You know, this show has so touched the lives of so many people. As a matter of fact, I went to some pictures last night, and there's still another Star Trek motion picture coming out in theatrical release.
Yes.
And I've asked this of Gene Roddenberry and Shatner and Scotty and Leonard Nimoy. What is it about this show? I mean, this is a show, not that many episodes were done before NBC pulled it in the 60s.
79 episodes.
This thing has just taken on a life of its own.
I think basically, Tom, it means many things to many people, and I suppose there are many reasons, as there are fans out there, people who love the show. But you have to remember it came at a time of the middle 60s. We're right in the middle of the civil rights movement, the Cold War.
The war in Vietnam.
Vietnam War. They even had a show, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Flower children were dropping out. There was a very real concern that we were going to annihilate ourselves by nuclear destruction.
This is correct.
And young people were not willing to buy into the status quo. And so there was a lot of apathy. And along came one genius, one man, who presented to the world, like, say, stop, look, and listen. You're not as bad as you think you are. Mm-hmm. Mankind, humankind, really does reach for its highest nobility. I think that's
for its greatness.
About hope.
And let me take you to places where you have never been before.
Exactly. And also, let me prove it to you. Look, here you are. One, men and women of all colors as equals. Unheard of. Just simply wasn't seen on television, certainly not on a weekly basis. Gene brought the first ensemble TV show of characters.
True.
That looked like everybody else, that looked like people on the street, that looked like Americana, and proposed that we had solved enough of our problems to go forth in peaceful exploration.
Right. The only thing that I found ironic about the show, and it's something you just touched on, it represented all America.
Exactly.
Except that it represented all America once we left Earth and got to outer space.
Well, he had to do it in the 23rd century in order to tell those kind of provocative, present that kind of provocative idea. Because, like I said, it was not only was unheard of, it wasn't even approved. It was simply not
Because if we take
accepted.
If we take a look at another movie playing at the same time, another reel spinning at the same time, was the Apollo program and the American effort to place astronauts on the moon. They were all white and they were all male.
Exactly.
So the reality of space exploration was in stark contrast to the fantasy of Gene Roddenberry.
Exactly. And yet, millions of people took one look and said, whoa, don't stop the world. I think I'll stay on.
Okay.
I can subscribe to that. If that's what the future is going to be, that's what I want. Then maybe I will bring children into the world.
Let me ask you about the controversy that surrounds Star Trek to this day. And I've interviewed people on both sides of the question. Did Gene Roddenberry get too much or too little credit? Certainly he is the creator of Star Trek. Certainly there are others who might well share credit for Star Trek and some of the places it went.
I think, as Gene often said, everyone put their stamp on this. What he really did, and here's the genius of the man, he cast 7 people who the public could identify with and could care about and had their interaction such that you could believe it.
Oh, no question.
You could believe it.
By the way, not care about, love. I've been to a Trekkie convention in New York City, and they don't care about you, they love you.
Well, Trekkers are wonderful people, and they come from every walk of life.
Yes, they do.
That's what's so much. And I think that Gene, the other genius, and this is why he has left such a great legacy, is that he created it, handed it out there, and then surrounded himself with the best talent, the best minds, the best writers, the most ingenious input into it, and he let them have their head. But nothing happened, and here is why he has the credit. I think he deserves the credit for it all. Nothing happened on that show that he did not approve, that did not fit in to the Star Trek Bible.
The grand vision of
The grand
the Starship
vision of the
Enterprise
Starship
and where it would go.
Enterprise. Exactly.
Let me ask you here without dwelling on, well, let me do the commercial first. And then let me ask you about a personal relationship with Gene that you write about in this book, and your friendship with Major Barrett,
Exactly.
Mrs. Gene Roddenberry,
Exactly.
and then some folks along the toll-free highway. We'll be right back after these messages. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Where two generations shall meet to join forces in a battle to save the universe. Star Trek Generations, new action figures and accessories from Playmates.
Let me ask you here about your relationship with Gene Roddenberry. It was a personal relationship, was it not?
Yes. Well, in 1963, years before Star Trek, Gene had created a wonderful show called The Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am.
And I got my first starring role in episodic TV in that show. After the show was over, Gene Roddenberry saw the show and asked to meet me. We became very good friends and personal friends. And he was estranged from his wife, going through a divorce, which he ultimately
This was before he would be married to Major Barrett.
And ultimately married Major Barrett.
Takes a lot out of the picture, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were very good friends first, and remained, even though our romance did not continue, and never resumed after, I think, a little over a year, 3 months or something like that. Never resumed, but we remained close and dear friends until the day he died. And I still regard both of them as dear friends.
Oh, listen,
Yes.
Major's a terrific lady.
Yes, indeed.
Terrific lady.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Gene was a
Yes.
terrific guy. You know, he was a cop.
And I think that it turned out, I know that he loved her very much.
No question.
From day one. And it was a point of great concern with him, of great concern. There's two people that he cared about. And I felt this in my heart that their union was right. And I had a whole career to pursue, and continued to do that. Went to New York and did a Broadway show. I did Stand By to No Strings. Richard Rodgers was had me to do the London company, and then unfortunately passed away, and everything was undone.
Let me ask you a question.
Did Kicks and Company and a lot of other things, and then went to Europe. And then I heard about the Star Trek and was asked to come back and do it.
What is the difference between a standby and an understudy?
Very interesting. The understudy is there every day, every night, ready to go on. Often is in the show.
In a
more
minor
often
role?
than not,
Yeah.
in a minor role. And someday the understudy might get their big chance to go on. A standby is a person of equal standing.
But you're not in the theater, are you?
No.
You're at home and you're cold.
Well, you're there. You're in town.
Yeah.
And well, it was very interesting. I opened the first Playboy Club in New York City.
Really? On
yes.
59th
Yes.
Street there? Yeah.
Starred in it, right?
Yeah.
Opening it. Big act. The number one act.
Wow.
And Richard Rodgers wants me to do Stand By to Diane Carroll for No Strings.
Right.
So no one wanted to agree. No, she's committed she's committed to this. The first time Hugh Hefner and Richard Rodgers get together and allowed me to do both. So I would call in
Right.
to see if Diane showed up.
And what was your wish? That she had showed up or that she had not?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a marvelous little story because I love Diane very much.
How could you not?
She's a neat lady and a very talented lady, you know. But Diane was going through some problems that she was having at that point in time with the man she was in love with, Sidney Poitier.
That's correct.
And I think that's why they wanted a standby.
Yeah.
And so Diane meets me. She says, "Hi, Nichelle," because we had done Porgy and Bess together.
Okay.
So we knew one another. And we hugged, and she says, "I just want you to know I have no intentions of being sick while you are here. So I go, it's all right, Diane. I've got a bag full of banana peelings. She said, what? Oh, I said, break a leg. She said, don't you dare, out of here.
Where did that come from among show folk, break a leg?
And
by the way, it's a way of saying good luck.
Go out and do so much and be so fantastic.
Yeah, break a leg.
That you kill yourself for them. Yes, for them. Yeah.
Where did that come from? Do we know?
I haven't the slightest
Me neither.
idea.
Me neither.
Any more than don't whistle in the dressing room and don't wear yellow on stage. You know?
Or the other one is when they're doing the Danish play. You never say the name, H-A-L-E-T. You never say that. Very bad luck.
Yeah.
Here is David in Yakima, Washington. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, David.
How are you?
I'm fine, but I can barely hear you. Could they turn this speaker up? I'm having a hell of a time hearing these folks.
How's that? Is that a little better?
Much better.
Tom?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, I have a question for Nichelle, then I have a comment for you.
All right. Talk to Nichelle. She's right here.
Hello, Nichelle.
Hi.
I would like to say thank you for being a great actress and gracing us with your beauty then and now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My question is, and I don't want to get too personal.
Sure, go right in.
I don't want to get too personal. Is your merchandising and your residuals from Star Trek, did they ever settle that? Are they paying you for the things that they sell?
I prefer not to answer that for a very good reason.
What would the reason be?
We're in negotiation and we're talking.
That's a very, very good reason.
And my attorneys wouldn't like me to discuss that.
Yeah, you can understand that, David. They're in negotios as we speak.
That's another question here.
Very good.
What's next for Nichelle Nichols after Star Trek?
Oh, well, I'm very excited about the fact that my publishers, Putnam Berkeley, have bought my next work, which is a novel.
Oh, really?
A science fiction novel called Saturn's Child. It's the first of a series of the adventures of Saturna, and Saturna is the first science fiction heroine of color.
Now you can come back and talk about Saturna, because that's a lot easier to pronounce for me than Uhura. I have trouble with any first name that begins with U.
Well, Uhura comes from the Swahili Uhuru. And when I went in for my interview, I had this big book, which was a treatise on Africa, on the bestseller list. And for the first 20 minutes, we talked about nothing but this book. Somebody had read it, somebody's wife had read it, and so forth and so on. So after I got the role, Gene said, let's go to lunch and talk about your character, because it hadn't been written yet. I read for the part of Mr. Spock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I kept saying, this is a really good part. Who is this woman Spock, and what does she look like? They're going, wait a minute.
Man, I know you're versatile, but that's really versatile. Yeah.
Right. And then they go, I said, oh, it's cast? And, well, what is she like? They said, it's not a female, it's a male. And I said, could it be a woman? They said, yeah, but Leonard Nimoy would not like it.
Right.
Well, anyway, Gene says, let's go talk about your role. And he says, I really love this name Uhuru, but it's kind of harsh for you. I'd like to use it as a name. So we wound up I said, how about something soft like the Spanish do, or Latin does, and soften it with an A.
Right.
Yes. And so we did that alliteration of Uhuru and made it Uhura.
All right, now, David, hang on a second, because we're not finished with you, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back with Nichelle and more of your calls after these messages. Stay tuned.
This is your NASA.
She went into it to be an actress. She ended up changing the world.
I think it's one of the most fantastic stories to be told to the American people.
The world got to see that our women are strong, yes, but they're also smart.
We owe a great debt of gratitude to Nichelle Nichols.
All I can do is think of Nichelle Nichols as a force of nature.
I said, if they let me in the door, I will open it so wide they will see the world.
Well, you touched on that part of your career where you were a performer. You were a singer. You loved music, and you performed at the Playboy Club. You were in Broadway shows. You were in London. Where did your career begin? Were you blessed with a voice as a young girl? Did you sing from childhood like
I
Gladys
did.
Knight and others?
I'm probably one of the luckiest people in the world because I always knew what I wanted to be. My father used to say I was born singing and dancing. I was a ballerina.
Uh-huh.
I was a singer. I was an actor. I came up in musical theater where you did it all.
Sure.
From making the scenery, to anything
we'll build some
else.
sets, we'll hire theater, we'll have a show.
Exactly. You've got a barn.
Yeah, right. I got a script. We'll do a show. Yeah.
Exactly. And I always wrote. Well, when I was 14 years old, I was in this big show in my hometown, Chicago, at the Sherman House.
Oh, sure.
Lasted a year, the College Inn story.
Yeah.
Anyone came there to see the show. From Ella Fitzgerald, Josephine Baker, all the biggies, just everybody.
The Sherman
was
House
there.
was one of the rooms in America.
Well, we did the story, of the entire story of it, from the time it began, and we portrayed, our group portrayed the great Katherine Dunham and her dancers.
Oh, surely.
Well, we were also in the beginning and the end and sang the big songs and everything. I was discovered there by the great Duke Ellington. He came to town. Now, I had told everyone I was 16 years old. Of course, they didn't buy that. My mother and father, or mother or father, had to bring me to work every night.
Did you strut your stuff when you were a young girl?
I really did. Yeah. I really did.
How many hearts did you? How many young men's hearts did you break?
Dozens.
Yeah.
I hope. But I had a very strict parents. So there they were. So the great Duke Ellington.
Girls with strict parents are the worst at breaking young men's hearts.
Is that right?
The great Duke Ellington.
So I rush upstairs. He asks to see me. I rush up to our suite. Mom, Duke Ellington is in the audience, and he wants to meet me. Mother said then he will meet the entire troupe.
Right.
All right, Mom. So we all go down. But anyway, he tells me that he loved my work, compliments me on my dancing, and he says, and I could hear that voice over everybody on that stage of mine.
Let me ask you something. Where are you singing these days? Do you still work around at clubs?
I have a one-woman show called Reflections that I'm going to mount next year. But I mean, they haven't very good reviews.
They haven't called you like from
here.
Rainbow and Stars in New York City or places like that where you go and sing a couple of songs while people have a little cocktail and.
No. I would love to do Sunset Strip. I would love to do Sunset Boulevard. Do Norma.
Oh, Norma Desmond?
On Broadway, yes, of course.
So would
well, wait a minute. Let me tell you the story.
Wait a second. Let me.
Okay.
So would the one who's suing Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Faye.
Faye Dunaway.
Yes.
Yeah, she loved it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
But let me tell the great Duke Ellington. Right. So I'm on. He wants me. So he comes back to town 3 years later. I'm now 16, 17. And he asked to meet me again. He said, how would you like to choreograph and perform on tour with me a ballet to one of my musical suites? It was monologue, duet, and threesome. Part that I did was Pretty and the Wolf, which the Duke narrates. And it was beautiful. So I was ecstatic. We toured, and toward the end of the tour, the band singer got sick. Now, I used to stand in the wings and watch her because she was so gorgeous. And she hung onto this microphone and sang his songs, Yeah. I don't know she's sick, so Ellington calls me in. He says, sing something for me. So I'd heard the guys say anytime, hey, that's really good, they'd go, no sweat, we all got rhythm, So so when I kind of hesitated, I thought I'd be one of the guys, I said, I'm, 17 years old. He says, sing something for it. I went, he says, well, I know you can sing. I could hear, remember, I remember hearing you, obviously, remember. Yeah. So I said,
I'm out of time now.
Oh, sure I can. We all got rhythm, ain't we? He said, so sing. I look for the piano. He says, no piano. He says, I said, where's the piano? He says, you don't need a piano. We all got rhythm, ain't we? Well, anyway, I finished the tour with the great Duke Ellington, not only as a ballerina, but as a singer.
I sure appreciate the stories, and I appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for coming in,
great.
Nichelle. It's been wonderful
Thank
for all
you.
of us. The book is
Thank
called
you.
Beyond Uhura.